these tactics, the terminology of like love bombing, smear campaign, salad, that was a big one. Because I say that because it's like salad. What is that? And it makes so much sense now that I know, because they toss their words all around. I never. Now sometimes I recognize that he would go from one thing to another and really had nothing to do with what we were originally talking about. You know, and there were several times that he would say something and then he would say, look at me like I was crazy and say, I didn't say that. I said blah blah blah, and it would be he would rhyme with it. He was quick. He came up with really quick things. You know, not only do we have a hard time, when I say we, I mean like the victims, that we have a hard time grasping this kind of evil that is so close to us. And not to mention the denial of wanting to continue to feel like you're Cinderella before midnight. But it's past midnight. It's way past midnight. So rather than living in a fantasy world and not understanding why you're just incredibly miserable, and the whole and I'm only speaking from my personal experience, the whole, how do I say this, you are constantly, even if it's consciously or unconsciously, you are constantly trying to get things back to the way that they were when they were love bombing you, because you thought it was real. It was real to you, but it wasn't real to them. So it's like you're in a hamster wheel, you know, and you're using all your energy. You become fascinated with it because you want to be understood. You feel that if you are understood by your partner, that things would be the way that they were in the beginning. So you're diligently working for that. And every once in a while they'll throw you a bone. Every once in a while, here and there, they'll give you a taste of the way that it was in the beginning, and that's why we stay. But it's not very long. With me, it was the very next day. The love bombing, it never lasted for more than 2 days, for sure. I mean, sometimes with me, it was not even last until the morning, and you know, he would come home, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you know, I'm blindsided by his sweetness and what made me just totally fall head over heels in love with him and petty in his hands. That's when he knew he had me. He comes home from work, and he just, the look in his eyes are different. It's like he's looking through me to my soul. That it's like he can see me now. And I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what I have been fighting for. Why fight that? You know, it's what I want, right? It's twisted. So, you know, I mean, romance like you wouldn't believe, you know, wants to show me the stars and the moon and dance to my favorite song, and just it, you know, it was totally everything I could dream of, and I was in my own Cinderella movie. 3 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden he wakes me up, wants to know, or no, he wakes me up because of a dream he had. He had a dream that I was cheating on him. And why did I talk to the guy stocking shelves at the grocery store? what? Are you kidding me? How can someone with so much pride be so insecure? You know, that's a sure sign of false pride. That's character alone will damage any relationship. And that's just one trait. Imagine all of the traits, but just hidden behind a veil. Like, you know, they can only suppress their anger for so long. When in the beginning, when they, you know, after love bombing you, and then they kind of say a weird comment or a destructive comment, criticize you or whatever, but they kind of say it jokingly, kind of with a smile, you know. This is how it starts. It's gradual. And then they start criticizing you in front of your friends, in front of your family, and then, without you knowing, they go behind your back. And sometimes not. Sometimes they'll do it right in front of you. But they'll start talking to your people, and they'll get them to believe they are talking to them out of concern for you. And you know that you're doing this or that, and you know, has she ever been known to do something like that? You know, I'm really concerned about her. You know, so then they'll try to turn your people. Hopefully you have a family that knows you and that's close to you, and that they can see through it. If they do see through it, either way, it's bad, because you're already hooked as a cardinal female. You're already hooked, and so you're not going to listen to anybody. You know, nobody's going to come between you and how strong you feel in the beginning. Or he'll turn your family and friends against you. Not really against you, but just kind of like, you know, wow, like kind of they're leery of you, or they'll, you know, or maybe they'll try to talk to. So all of a sudden, you know, all these people, you know, are starting to talk to you about this or that, but they're saying the things that your partner is doing to you. See, they always accuse you of what they do, which is how I found out about all of this. Is I Googled, because I knew there's something way off. I Googled what kind of person would accuse me or accuse someone else of what they do, and then pages and pages of narcissism and sociopathic behavior, psychopaths came up. So many, and I started reading about it. I was like, man, this fits my partner like to a T, like perfect, like a glove. Yeah. So how could this be? How does all the books and anything that's anybody has ever written or discussed about narcissism, that they all use the same tactics? Well, I believe it to be a spiritual experience, but hopefully I'll remember to come back to that, because I'm going off on a budding trail, and I'm known to do that. I was speaking of the family, that he turns them against you or causes them to be leery. So the way you react, the way that anybody would react, unless they knew exactly what was going on, is to react defensively, to explain, to defend yourself, to say that that's what they do. But the thing is that it seems that whoever brings up something first to someone, and especially since he was acting, it's out of concern and all that, when you react a certain way, it's basically confirmation that what they were saying was true. They're very smart, very, very smart. Actually, under an MRI, their narcissist brains are wired differently. There's hardly any electrical current going up in the frontal lobe of the brain. There is a little bit, but not much. It's smaller too. The other parts in the brain, you know how when we have our 5 senses, if you're blind, then your other 4 senses make up for it. You know, well, the narcissist is the same way. The narcissist is the same way. they're very intelligent, but all the electrical currents are accessible in excess for the intelligence lobe of the brain, the energy level. That's why mine could stay up for all night and then still go the next day, and I was just totally exhausted. See, just thinking about it, I get exhausted. But anyway, as you can tell, I have so much to say. Like I said, I don't know it all, and I'm still learning. And just certain things trigger me to realize, wow, that's what he was doing at that time. That was his motive. Nothing that the narcissists do is they're playing a game. Okay, whether they win or lose, it is in your reaction that determines. Of course, when you get upset, you're feeding them. Kind of like Monsters, Inc. is the perfect example, I think. A Disney movie, no doubt, of course. And don't get me wrong, I have Disney movies, and but they do have another purpose. Anyways, I don't want to offend anybody. Monsters, Inc. So there's this monsters, and whoever can bring out the most fear, they go through these doors. They go through these doors, which is a different dimension, into this child's closet. They come out of the closet. Whoever gets the most fear is this juice that they bottle up and everything, and they store or whatever is for energy. And it's just like how the narcissist is. We actually feed them and that's why I really feel it gets demonic. So here's the spiritual part of it. I believe that, and I don't mean to get in too much religion part, in case, like I said, I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want to mess with anybody's belief system. So this is just how I perceive it, and how I feel what is happening here. And I do believe that, see, demons, they're smart. Now we think of demons, in the Bible or whatever, if somebody's possessed, and I'm not saying the narcissists are possessed, but I am saying they're definitely attached to their back. And they're definitely whispering in their ear. And if that person has a lot of pride and doesn't have a higher power to help them, just thinking about themselves all the time or whatever, they're gonna fall for whatever they're saying, right or wrong. I mean, well, it's gonna be wrong, but they have no. They don't know how to differentiate right from wrong, really. They maybe they do, but they just don't care, because they care about themselves more. The very few currents that are in their the frontal lobe of the brain is the conscious, the empathy, and things like that. So sometimes they might kind of feel, oh, did I do that? For a second or a minute. No, not even a minute, I don't think. I've never seen it, but I've kind of seen it for a few seconds, and then all of a sudden then they're like, oh yeah, me, and then they go on their way. So anyway, that is their mentality. So I wanted to, I'm in a state to where, and this is the thing about being outside, it's a beautiful day, but I've got stuff flying at me and all that, so I hope this is not too distracting. And my computer died, so I'm having to, improvise and just talk. Yeah, because I didn't realize I had everything, made sure there was, everything was charged up and everything was good to go, but then I forgot to charge my battery to my computer, which is what I was reading from, but that's all right. So I'm in one of those states where it is legal to record as long as I'm in the conversation. I've got tons of records, and not to say, I mean, I'm not weird like that. Like, I don't go around recording people, only narcissists, because I was really thinking I was going crazy. And I did it for my own sanity, because I wanted to, when I said, I mean, you said this, because they're constantly contradicting themselves. And they're like, no, I didn't, so that's really the main reason why I started recording. And then what I've learned from going back and listening to the recording made me do it all that more. So what I've learned from that alone is amazing, because salad, I fell for it. It's a psychological tactic that they use, that your brain actually is trying desperately to get something that makes sense. And see, our self, the way that we feel about ourselves is pretty low about this time. So we're always self-doubting. So we're unconsciously thinking that, maybe that we're just not understanding or whatever. We're stupid, we're slow, or whatever. So, and if anything, we don't want them to think that we don't understand, or that we're stupid, or that we're slow. So we're just waiting to hear something that makes sense, that comes out of their mouth, to know how to respond. And when one of my recordings that I have, I'm going to let you listen to it, because it's perfect. It's the perfect example, and I think it would help, of salad, because I fell for it. And the way that he did it was, let me explain. When they use this tactic, when they play this card, I should say, is when they feel that you are about to take control over the conversation, or they feel like they're backed in a corner. They play this card, and it just starts rambling off, and then they distract you from what you originally said or asked. And it worked. It worked with me. So I'm gonna let you hear this. Let me get to it. If you just bear with me here. I hope you can hear it, though. I don't know if I need to back this up a little bit. Let's see. Okay. So, my recordings. Salad.
It's showing it's a joke. It's everything I done wrong. It's a joke. I'm showing it at South Circuit about 4 times. Now that it's come up, this person actually told me because he gave it.
Let me bring this forward a little bit, so I know that you hear it, because I don't know if you'll be able to see me though. Oops. Okay, so I have to explain something though first. I don't know if you can see me. Okay, so this my ex, I used to, he owns his own company, and this was even actually years later, after we had already split up, and I was with, he's my second narc. My third one, I went into a relationship with him for about 6 years, I believe, and then we were broke up already. This is who I have my 11-year-old with. So we were broke up already, or else he would have never allowed me to work with him. But I say that I have to. I was laid off after my employment of 10 years, and I was desperate for money, so I started working for him, and he set me up real nice in my own house with an office, printer, and office equipment, and furniture. You know, it would have been great. It would have been for him too, you know, a benefit, because I would have done all his paperwork and very organized. I know he's a perfectionist. I know how he wants things done, you know, so anybody else, they would have to put up with a lot. He would have to also put up with a lot to get them to where I was already. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying I already went through all that with him. So it would have been great. Okay, well, he became partners with another guy, and probably because his credit and everything, his name is ruined. He does very good work, but his name... So he probably needed this guy to, you know, put his name under the company, the DBA or whatever. Well, he tries to tell me that, you know, how they like to play the victim. And he tries to tell me this guy screwed him over and, you know, took all his tools and equipment and all that. When in actuality, he had the equipment. He had all this stuff. So it was the other way around. And I, you know, but so really, I knew this, and I didn't even really want to talk about it because I knew what he did, and it made me feel kind of bad about myself because I was actually working for somebody that would do something like that. So I didn't want to talk about it. But you know how persistent they are. So, you know, in a way, in the beginning, I'm like, okay, fine. He's going to insist on talking about it. I might as well like let it amuse myself, like see how far, from the outside looking in, be able to see how far that he takes something. And so, okay, fine, you want to talk about it. So you know, he would get so much into his character, and he would get so desperate that he would it was like he believed himself. Like, sometimes I wonder if they do. I didn't allow him to think that I was buying it. But I'm like, I don't trust anybody. Don't take it personal. But see, the thing is that they have to get you to trust them, because that is step one in their agenda. If you don't trust them, then they can't go to step two. Step two requires you to trust them. Or they're in a standstill, so they'll go to extreme. And one of the things is playing the victim. So I was just like, whatever. I don't, care or what. He's just like, it hurts, Belinda. It hurts. And he said when my daddy used to tell me, and I loved his dad, so he knows I perk up when I hear about his dad. He said, my dad told me that if somebody takes $20 from you, that's no big deal, whatever, but and I'm paraphrasing, but if it's more than $20, that's when not to ever, do anything not associate with that person or anything. And just so happened, my file of bills with him, about this thick, was behind him. And so I went and got it and put it in front of him. He was like, what's that? And I was like, that's the $18,000 of bills that you stuck me with. And see, the thing is that we weren't married, so I got stuck with everything. And when I tried to take it, he was taking me to court. And so when I tried to take all my bills to court, he told me to, he said, you can take those bills and stick them up your ass. So I got him out of my ass, and I laid them right in front of him. And he said, well, what's that? The way he reacted was, what can I do? What can I do to make that up? I'm not like that anymore. And all. So anyway, it kind of dampened his what he was trying to achieve, which was trying to get me to trust him. So that, to me, I think that brought him like 2 steps backwards. But see, he didn't know that I knew the whole, everything. So, anyway, the recording. He was trying to accuse me. Now, see, this is when it starts getting, complicated, because he involved me. So it wasn't really me on the outside looking in anymore, because he started accusing me of going behind his back and talking to the guy and trying to get information and all that from him. But the thing is that I did not care enough about it. I just wanted to make my money, and that was it. Needless to say, that didn't work out very much longer. Well, that's a whole other different story, but because I'll get into that maybe some other time, but that would be a bunny trail to watch myself like that. So I'm just trying to update you for the recording. So anyway, he starts accusing me of going behind his back, and that's the thing, is I didn't go to him, and I didn't. I don't care that much about him to waste my time. I'm a single mom. I'm, try to focus on my kid. That's what's important to me. So none of this matters. So this was starting to get aggravating. Before, when he was like, "It hurts, Valinda, it hurts." That was when I said, "Hold that thought," and I went to my kitchen. I literally did this. I went to my kitchen and got me a Coke and popped me some popcorn, and then I came back and sat down and said, "Okay, go ahead now." I really did. I really did. I don't know how to set this up.
It's a joke. It's on there that South Circuit about 4 times now. It's came up. Now that it's come up, this person actually told me, because he gave his phone to me, look at his. It's just scrolls of messages. Now you're talking about amendments when you put this on Sam Construction all the way through.
I didn't say anything. I don't even know what you asked him. I did not ask him. And all those papers that you gave me, it didn't even say anything about ads chip.
This is straight out on there. He's making jokes out of it. It's funny. Okay? It's funny. So if you want that and you want it and you want to stick to that, I don't know where to go with it. I'll put it on, but I don't want nothing. I don't want to hurt you. You're definitely they showed them the limit. It's okay, I got it.
I'm tired of it.
I know. Because of what that is. If you want to give them fun, but I'm so tired of it too, man.
You see what they do? I'm tired of this. I know. Things into perspective, and to know what part of my brain to put everything. I don't claim to know all the answers. I'm still learning.